On Saturday morning, Donald Trump gave the commencement address for the graduates of West Point, and the whole thing was an absolute abomination. Donald Trump did begin his speech, addressing the actual graduates, the accomplishments they had made, but after a few short minutes of that, immediately pivoted to how amazing he is, and of course, how horrible America is. He talked about getting rid of those god-awful DEI programs in the military. He said that the military shouldn't be putting on drag shows. He talked about how awesome it is that he's cracking down on immigration because we had an invasion in this country, the likes of which we've never seen. 4 years of an invasion. And he also talked about the, quote, great late Al Capone, which he messed that up. It's supposed to be late great is how you actually say that, but he said, quote, I was investigated more than the great late Alphonse Capone. First of all, nobody should refer to Al Capone as great. So that right there is kind of a big tell. Alphonse Capone was a monster. He was a very hardened criminal. I went through more investigations than Alphonse Capone, and now I'm talking to you as president. Can you believe this? I'm sure they can't. Just like most Americans right now can't believe that you're president again. And by the way, Al Capone and you were investigated so many times because you're criminals. You were convicted. You're a convicted felon, Donald. You seem to constantly forget that, but you were in fact convicted of all 34 counts against you. You're a common criminal. And had it not been for your victory in the 2024 election, you would probably have a lot more criminal convictions against you right now. Not to mention even more criminal charges because the state of Arizona decided not to charge you because, you were running for president by the time they got around to charging people. So if you hadn't been running, if you hadn't won, you would probably also be facing charges in the state of Arizona. But all of that pales in comparison to the symptoms of vascular dementia that Donald Trump clearly displayed during this speech. And those symptoms were quite simple. It's the repetition of themes, words, or phrases. And in some instances, of course, telling the same story over and over again, which is exactly what Donald Trump did to a crowd of people who could not have cared less. I'm going to show you the clip in a second. They had no reaction. They didn't give a damn about this story. They didn't understand it. They didn't know why he was telling it, but he was telling it because that is a symptom of vascular dementia. Those suffering from it will often fall back on the same things that they know because they're unable to either recall new memories, recall old memories, form new memories. So they tell you the same thing over and over because they only remember a select few things. So here is that story. It is one that we have heard Donald Trump tell before. And just like last time, he got no response from the audience from it. Take a look.
A trophy wife. It didn't work out too well, but that doesn't work out too well. I must tell you, a lot of trophy wives doesn't work out, but it made him happy for a little while at least. But he found a new wife. He sold his little boat and he got a big yacht. He had one of the biggest yachts anywhere in the world. He moved for a time to Monte Carlo and he led the good life. And time went by and he got bored. And 15 years later, the company that he sold to called him and they said, the housing business is not for us. You have to understand, when Bill Levitt was hot, when he had momentum, he'd go to the job sites every night. He'd pick up every loose nail. He'd pick up every scrap of wood. If there was a bolt or a screw laying on the ground, he'd pick it up and he'd use it the next day in putting together a house.
That story had nothing to do with anybody at West Point. It had nothing to do with anything that Donald Trump's administration is doing. It had nothing to do with anything that anyone anywhere actually gives a damn about. But Trump tells it because he's compelled to do that because it's one of the few things he can actually remember. And again, he has told that same story almost word for word in the past. Now, vascular dementia is not quite regular dementia. Vascular dementia is, of course, dementia that is caused due to reduced blood flow to the brain. And that reduced blood flow is usually due to damage or, some kind of problem with the veins and arteries. Now, the reason I even bring that up is because we know from Donald Trump's medication list that his doctor was kind enough to release. He is on cholesterol medication. Too much cholesterol, of course, can clog up your arteries, reduce blood flow. He is on blood thinners, meaning his blood was having trouble circulating through his body properly. And of course, he is on a daily aspirin regimen, which is typically what happens when doctors are afraid of blood clots, which, in case you didn't see the pattern here, blood clots will in fact reduce blood flow. So you look at the symptoms, you look at the medication, it all makes perfect sense, right? Like, we don't need Dr. House to come limping in here and tell us that this is what we're dealing with, because we can see it clear as day. This is not a medical mystery. This is, a very short episode of Becker, not House. So that's what we're likely dealing with here. A man who is unable to think of other things because he is suffering from some, mental order or disorder, I should say, that his administration is hiding from us. And for the record, we also know they're hiding it from us because they have disappeared all of the transcripts of his speeches from the White House website so that people can't go back and look at how much this man has degenerated. So there it is. The symptoms, he is, showing us clear as day on any given day. And the media keeps pretending that Biden is so much worse and that's the story we should be focused on right now. Welcome to the Ring of Fire YouTube channel. I am Farron Cousins, the host of Ring of Fire here on YouTube. I don't know if this is your first time here or maybe you're somebody who comes here every single day, but either way, let me tell you what's going on. Ring of Fire was actually started in the year 2004 by none other than our own America's lawyer, Mike Papantonio. And over the last 20 plus years, Ring of Fire has gone from being a 1-hour weekend radio program on Air America through a series of changes. Go Left TV, which we started back in 2007. We've been on the Young Turks network. And of course, this very YouTube channel here that started, obviously, as they all do, with no subscribers, and we've now ballooned to well over 1 million as we go on our way to that 2 million mark. So again, if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. Take a few minutes, look around. We have content that actually goes back 20 years. So there's lots to see, there's lots to do, and trust me, with the next 4 years of Donald Trump getting back in office, we will be here every day, every single day with fresh content for you to keep you informed about what's happening and, of course, to warn you of the potential dangers that Donald Trump poses as we approach his second term.